Let's talk federal pension. Most of you are going to be in the FERS retirement system. If you happen to be CSRS, don't worry about that. We will be setting up a separate video just for you that covers the caveats of CSRS retirement, because the two systems are very, very different. For those of you in the FERS retirement system, you might hear somebody talk about MRA, which stands for minimum retirement age. If you look at this chart, look at the year you were born, and your corresponding minimum retirement age is going to be to the right of that. For those of you that were born from 1970 on, your minimum retirement age is 57. For those of you before that, it's somewhere between 55 and 56 and getting you there. To be eligible to retire for a full unreduced pension, and I'll talk about how they reduce it here in a couple of minutes, you need to be at least minimum retirement age with at least 30 years of service. If you have MRA, so you've reached that minimum retirement age, and you've got 29 years of service, and you've got a year of sick leave accrued, because that is also going to count toward your service time, you will still have a reduction in your pension. You have to have worked that full 30 years in order to get an unreduced pension. If you're planning on taking the health insurance with you into retirement, you have to have been on FEHB or to have been eligible for FEHB and carried on somebody else's FEHB. Think if you're married and you're both federal employees, okay, in order for you to take that FEHB with you into retirement. For those of you that come to the federal service a little bit later in life, if you've got 20 years of credited service and you're at least 60 years old, you'll get an unreduced pension. And if you don't meet that criteria, if you're at least 62 years old with a minimum of 5 years worked, this doesn't count buying back your military time, guys. You have to have worked for those 5 years in order to be eligible for an unreduced pension and for the health insurance benefits. There are some of you who are entitled to retire with a full unreduced pension at an earlier age. Those of you that are in law enforcement, Customs and Border Patrol, air traffic controllers, law enforcement officers and firefighters. Those of you who are serving in those particular roles can retire at age 50 with a minimum of 20 years of service, or any age with 25 years of service. I frequently talk to several of you who work in other agencies that work for the VA, and they talk about, well, I can retire at any age with 25 years of service, right? That answer is no. It only applies to those people that are working in these specific roles. Outside of that, you have to go by the rules that I talked about first. Several agencies from time to time offer early outs. Social Security has offered one for the past few years. I don't know if there are going to be any early outs offered this year, but it's normally for a reduction in force, or if they're closing an office in a particular city, something like that. If you are eligible for an early out, understand that they're going to give you an unreduced as earned pension. They are not going to go back and credit you with a full pension. There's a difference, okay? If you've only worked for 16 years and you're 45 years old, they're going to give you a pension that's equal to 16% of your high three. You won't have to pay or take that 5% reduction per year for every year under the required age, but it's not going to be a pension that acts as if you have worked there your entire life. Okay, if you've got questions about that, let us know and we'll help you understand that. Here are some of the early retirement options for those early outs. Your eligibility isn't going to be questioned if you meet one of these two criteria. For those of you that have worked at least 10 years and you're at minimum retirement age, but you're under age 62, you can in fact retire, but I want you to understand that you're going to have a 5% per year reduction for every year under age 62. So if you've got 10 years of service and you're 60 years old, can you get an immediate pension? Yes. Can you take the health insurance with you? Yes. Are you going to have a 10% permanent reduction in your pension? That's 5% per year for 2 years for retiring early? Yes. At that point, unless you've got a disability or something going on, it just might make sense for you to stick it out until you're 62 years old. Okay, if you're wondering what creditable service looks like, you guys have the option and really have a wide berth of service that is actually considered credited service as a federal employee. Your temporary time where they didn't take deductions can count. Refunded time where you left and took the contributions, go ahead and pay those back. And remember that buying back your military time can also help increase your pension. Part-time work, even leave without pay, work comp time, and those sick leave hours that you've taken, all of those are going to count as credited service time toward your pension. If you've got questions about what your pension will look like, or you're needing some help to try to get a rough idea of what your pension would be sure to reach out to us. We have calculators that can give you a pretty good estimate of what it looks like your pension will be when you retire. As always, we look forward to helping you and hope you have a great day.